Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Herman from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and today I'm going to be showing you the first part in a four-part series. Today we're going to be focusing on how a computer works. So, as you can see on the screen here, I've crudely drawn basically what a tower looks like, a tower computer. And the problem is we currently do not know how this works. So let me choose a little bit of a better color that you can see. Yep, that works. All right. So the first thing you have to know about computers is that it handles two things: input and output. Now, what is input? Input could be any sort of peripheral that you might use, such as the clicking of a mouse. Let me try a mouse here. Or perhaps you have a keyboard and wish to enter some commands. I apologize in advance for my terrible artsmanship. And the computer handles these input, it processes them, and then places them into an output. So what could output be? It could be your speakers. You might be listening to some music, some tunes. You might be using headphones, another peripheral. Let's try and draw some headphones, some Dr. Dre beats there. Very classy. Or it could even be, say, you have your monitor. This is supposed to be a monitor on a monitor stand. And it could output visual information. So the main two types of output that I know of are either audio output or visual output. So you have a little man on your screen. Now, what happens inside here is what we're going to be covering for the rest of the series. So the first thing you have to know about computers and how they work is you may have seen, I'm going to switch back to white here, these things here, 0111, 000, These are each called bytes. They can have two states, either 1 or 0, on or off. Think of them like little miniature switches that can be flipped. So either they're on or they're off. Just one of the two states can't be in between, can't be both. Now, each of these is called a byte. So this could be a byte, or I'm sorry, this is a bit, I believe, a bit. Any of these can be a bit. Now, your computer has thousands and thousands and thousands of these bits, and this little switch I showed you here is called a transistor. A transistor is basically a switch without any mechanical component. You can think of it as a semiconductor, meaning it can either let charge flow through it, or it can impede charge on an electrical scale. And we have billions and billions of transistors, or these bits, in your home computer. And it's increasing at a nearly exponential rate over time. The amount of bits, for instance, on the x-axis, x-axis should be time, I apologize. And here's the number of bits. It's been growing and growing and growing. And it's sort of it's predicted to hit a sort of plateau, where this is the atomic scale, and we currently face a problem where we do not know how to make a transistor smaller than an atom. There's some scientific research that you could look into, but that's not what I want to focus in this video. So now we know that the computer has tons of transistors, or bits, and I apologize in advance that this is getting a bit messy here. So let's scroll. Let's actually do this here quick. All right, now that we've talked about transistors, we can start to touch up and begin on how Java actually works. Now, Java will take anything from the input, so it can take keyboard input, mouse input, whatever. It will take it into the computer and put out output. Now, you may be wondering how the computer knows how to handle the switches that it has. So it just has tons of switches here. These represent switches, and software is what governs and tells the computer what to do with these switches. So I'll have a piece of software named ABC software, which says whenever all three switches are flipped to the right, play a note on your headphones. Or if these two here are to the right and this one here is to the left, perhaps I'll show a little picture on the screen. Basically, software is what tells the computer how to handle its transistor input. So let me remove this here. Now, the software that we are going to be using today, or I should say in this video series in general, is Eclipse. And Eclipse is what's called a Java compiler. Java is the language we will be using since it's a good entry point into programming, and it's what I'm personally somewhat familiar with, or at least I like to think so. Now, Java takes what's called high-level code, and we're going to be making some high-level code later on. So let's say our high-level code is system.out.print. This is an abbreviation. This isn't actually what you put into Java. We'll take our curly brackets here, and we'll tell it to print out hi. And then we need a delimiter there. Alright, so it takes this, turns this high-level code into, what is the name for it? Now our compiler, which is Eclipse that we will be using, oops, I apologize there. Our compiler that we will be using, which is Eclipse, well, this is the logo, or a terrible attempt at the logo. I'm going to try that again. Let's try that one more time. Alright, that's as close as I'm going to get. Eclipse, which is a compiling program, will take this code, turn it into what is called executable code. So 01, 01, blah, blah, blah. And it will take this executable code, send it to the computer, which will make a virtual machine, which we won't get into. Just think of it's a little bit of like a fake machine in your computer to test things on. And from there, it will go to any of your given outputs that we have here. So that's the basics of a computer. You have your input, so for instance a mouse or keyboard gets sent into your computer. From there it gets sent into your programming language of choice. For this we're going to be using Java, and our compiler will be Eclipse down there. It will take our high-level code, spit it out into executable code, bring the executable code into a virtual machine, and then we'll spit out whatever output you please. In the second part of the video, we're going to be looking at, in the video series, we are going to be looking at making your first program and how to download Eclipse, which will be our Java compiler. So thanks for sticking around with me. I will see you next time.